Hi everyone, and welcome to Change of Plans. This is the podcast where we dive into those unexpected moments, career pivots, and all the things that keep us on our toes. I'm your host, Anaita Azizi, and each episode I bring on inspiring guests who've taken unique paths, navigated some big shifts, and have loads of insights to share. Today's guest is Katherina Aldunate Kunstmann, who is a facilitator, coach, and startup comedian. And we're diving into the topics that doesn't always get enough attention or at all, which is humor in the workplace. Katherina brings fresh, fun perspective on how a little humor can do wonders for connection, creativity, and just making work a better place to be. So if you're ready to add some laughs to your day and learn how to bring a bit more fun into your own work, let's jump right into it. I had started doing a podcast in 2020 when it was quarantine.
Yeah.
And that's when I started doing also research on feminist movements, mostly in Central Asia, but generally also in like former Soviet states, although we don't say that anymore, but I still don't remember how we're supposed to say that.
Yeah.
And my idea was to do interviews with activists from Central Asia, with feminist activists from Central Asia. And it was kind of fun and important for me activist project. And but it was fully running on my enthusiasm and on my friend's enthusiasm. She was doing all the graphic design for that and looked really good. I think we ended up doing 12 episodes.
Wow.
2 more episodes I still have to do. It's been 10 months since I haven't done them. They're about burnout. Naturally, I burnt out and never done them. But this year I was like, I think you kind of have to let it go sometimes. And because it wasn't like, I grew up in a sense that I don't work in NGOs anymore. I don't do activism that much anymore. I kind of have to move on with my life. So like it's fine to wrap it up and start something else. And it was also run in Russian. And I'm more, oh my God, this music. I'm vibing more with like speaking in English generally and like talking about different topics now. And so yeah, I have it since 2020 and I've done actually a workshop with Bear Radio Berlin. I don't think they do them anymore, but that was really fun.
That's nice.
And it was kind of a crash course, like that's how you do startup, that's what they keep into need, that's how you use it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I will invest.
Yeah.
So now I have it. Yeah.
So you decided to stay active in order to make activism.
Yeah, like I also found that having a podcast is such a great way to meet people. Kind of sounds very time consuming to like have a whole conversation to meet a person. But I do find it super fun. Like we did a podcast about nuclear colonialism with a person who is now my friend. Like she became a very close friend of mine in Berlin. And
so I have that spot open.
Yeah, we had an episode. It's funny, we were also speaking in Russian using like formal you. And then like 5 minutes in, she's like, when are we gonna stop?
I know something in Russian. Can I use it?
Yeah, try it.
Хорошо.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, and so we just like, she also lives in Berlin for now. And so she's also from Kazakhstan. I don't meet a lot of people from Kazakhstan in Berlin. And yeah, that's really nice. And so I thought, also we were talking with about LinkedIn with you. And like I'm good at writing text, but for me it's way more time consuming and like energy consuming than plan out an episode and put it together and put it out. I don't know, I kind of find it more fun. So yeah.
Love it. Fun is my second language, my Muttersprache.
Exactly. So maybe you can start if you can tell me a bit about yourself. Maybe like pitch yourself. What do you do?
Oh my God,
Everybody
I was waiting to have a mic and talk about myself. Finally. My name is Katherina, actually named after my grand Russian grandmother, Katherina Kapuschikov. Damn, right? She's elegant. And I'm from Chile. And I am the youngest of 6 siblings. 80% of them are male. Yeah. So
younger and also
younger and the female one. That was for sure fun. And I moved to Germany 6 years ago because I wanted to get to know the world. Chile is beautiful, but it's so close to the penguins that you just get to know that part of the world. And I wanted to be more in contact with internationals. And here I am sitting with you.
Right.
I can go into my CV, my relationships, and everything. But let's see.
Let's start with the CV and then we'll see.
I wanted to be an actress, so I studied business engineering because I wanted to.
Because that makes so much sense. Yeah, correct. You want to be an actress,
Exactly.
you study business engineering.
Exactly.
No questions here.
No,
Sure, we can move on.
Yeah, I dropped the mic, and I worked like 6 years in Chile in people teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I can actually implement my actress mode of caring about the people when actually I was caring about the business. And was amazing. I was in 2 crazy industries to be, people don't see it now, but I'm a blonde, tall, millennial, kind of cute girl, and I work in a copper mine. That was nuts. Copper is one of the biggest industries in Chile that keep us alive, but it has a huge problem. It's based on the desert, so nobody wants to go there. And because I'm too curious to be truth, I wanted to go there. So I worked there for a couple of years. Then I moved to retail and other stories. We have a lot of like crazy. You ask me, do you have any crazy story at work? And I'm like, damn, where can I start? Which one? But yeah, I got serious when I moved to Germany. No, I didn't, but I had to a little bit. Yeah, started working in German.
Did you move just to like work right away, or did you study first?
That's a great question. Let me
Or like,
think.
did you move to study? That was my question.
Yeah. Let me think if I will answer you the truth or a lie.
Oh, that's actually something I forgot to do. We can do it now or later or in the end, like two truths and a lie.
Oh my God. Okay, let me get there.
We can do it in the end, yeah.
Okay. I'm very good lying. I will have to find the truth. So I told my family that I'm coming for 10 months just to check it out. But actually, I just wanted to build a life here in Germany. I also told the Ausländerbehörde that I'm coming for 10 months. But I have been here 6 years.
Because, forgiveness is easier to get permission.
Exactly. Germany is a country that forgives, for sure. And with sense of humor.
And forgets.
Exactly. And forgets. So here I have been, 6 years. I started working, my first job in Germany. Like, how can I make it more ridiculous? So I wanted to be an actress. I studied business engineer. I work in people teams. And my first job in Germany was a car driver for a Peruvian music band.
Well, that's a start. Definitely a start. To make a TV show sitcom just out of it.
Yeah, when you need a mini job as a Ausländer, you need a mini job. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You take whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up
right, because in my head you moved for like either study or like moved to like quote unquote serious job. But yeah, you came to like rest or like
I came with a work and holiday that is more work than holiday. I started with a job in order to get into the German vibe, get the beautiful Anmeldung. And then after a couple of months, I trained so hard to have an interview in German that I convinced a poor human being to hire me in a professional job.
Interest in German, I've done a bunch of them already. Don't know, never gets easier. Each time, like first time for me. Like English I can do in my sleep. Yeah. German I have to mentally prepare for a week. Yeah. And then sit there like, I don't think they're happy with that. No.
I guess like for a German interview, what my trick is to traumatize my brain so much that it doesn't forget anything.
You just stand up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe my idea was also like, there's 2 things I've done for my career that really benefit me, like hurting myself in that sense. First is give my older brother my CV for him to butcher it.
Okay.
Because no recruiter can hurt you after your sibling did.
Wow, good one.
He was also super good with it, actually. After he checked it, I actually started getting calls from like startups. Before I didn't. Right away, honestly. Samir, if you're listening, thank you. He's also very supportive of my podcast, obviously. And the second one is doing a stand-up. Because like if you stand in a room of people who expect that you're going to make them laugh and then you forget the text or something, also no interview can hurt you after that.
Yeah.
Sure. So my next step was like maybe do a stand-up in German. And then after that, like I'm not scared of anything. Invincible. What do you think?
Wow. I haven't done a stand-up in German yet, but I get your point. My problem is that my German is very süß.
It is.
I am like literally a 5-year-old little German kid talking. So like they will just find me sweet, and that is not meant to be. So yeah, that is my barrier with doing it in German. Yeah. Now I'm thinking like, damn, did they hire me because I'm a sweet 5-year-old girl talking in German? That's weird. But
that was your first German interview.
that was my actually, it's a funny story. I wanted to apply for a serious job in order to get a serious visa.
Fact.
And I didn't speak German fluent. I thought I did, but that's me thinking so many things that I'm not. So I applied for a random job as a secretary in L'Oreal, actually. And I went to that interview. Yeah. And the person that it was the HR manager needed a secretary. He saw my curriculum and we talked a little bit, and he's like, "What are you doing here? Like, why you want to be my secretary? You have 6 years experience. You have a good college. Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I am using you." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I just want to train an interview." And he actually helped me, and we trained the interview. The next day, I had my real interview. I got the job, and then the shit show just started.
You know, I've done that because whenever I talk about my career transition, I was applying for a lot of NGOs, I was applying for international organizations, and at some point you just need a job, right?
Yeah.
You need a job to get this visa and all that. I was also in that loop. And I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna apply for executive assistant everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And I also it was interesting, they were calling me in, and then in the interview they were like, "But why are you applying for this job?" And I'm like, "Why are you interviewing me if you don't want to hire me?"
They're just...
I did get to meet lots of startup, learn a lot about them. I even interviewed with Delivery Hero, which was my personal win because I was like, oh damn, the big company.
I worked there for years. We're gonna get there.
And then like the person was so nice who interviewed me. I don't know if she works there still or not. I don't even remember her name. But even like she gave me the salary range, like the budget for that. And usually people are super intransparent with that. They ended up canceling my second round, which is fine, and I'm not upset at all. It's okay.
They're
sometimes
forgiven.
I think about it still. Yeah.
Rejection is protection sometimes, believe me. Yeah.
Okay, and you got the job.
I got the job. The funny thing is that I got the job in German for Germans in Germany. And I remember my first 5 minutes when I'm sitting in the desk, they put the Chilean girl in the front of the door in the Personalabteilung, HR office. And someone enters in rage, leaves a letter in the post and starts screaming like, "Here's mein Kündigung," and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't understand a word of that person, so I came really sweet. "Hallo, mein Name ist Katherina. Ich bin neu hier. Was brauchen Sie?" And everyone looking at me like, "Girl, she's quitting and he's on fire. What are you doing?" So that was a really great first 5 minutes working there. Somehow I managed to overcome the private side and stay there for 2 years until Berlin conquered me and I moved to Berlin.
Also, what was the first city you lived in?
Frankfurt am Main.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of assumed that you were in Berlin right away. Side note, I personally I cannot imagine myself anywhere. It sounds so cheesy, but like, I cannot imagine myself anywhere but in Berlin. But like, in Germany, it's either Berlin or another country. I don't know how...
Because Berlin is not Germany, you mean?
I don't think... I mean, Berlin is Germany, but like, there are so many foreigners that I do feel like it's fine that I'm here. But then, if I go to Munich, I feel like such an outsider. I cannot imagine living in Munich. I lived in Switzerland for a while, for like 5 years. And it was...
Wow, where?
In Geneva.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
because I went to university there. And our community was just a bubble. An expat bubble. Because Swiss people in Geneva are also not that much into chilling with foreigners. I don't have a single Swiss friend. And that's how I imagine my life in any German city would go, besides Berlin.
Yeah. I mean, I had to be tender with myself. I left my really close penguin bubble, not bumble, bubble. we're gonna get there soon. From Chile. So Frankfurt was a really smooth city to arrive. They need people that work, and they need, they have a lot of jobs. So and they have places to get a Meldung. Frankfurt.
Maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah, maybe. But so yeah, it was a smooth landing. But after 2 years, after coming every weekend to Mauer Park and Volkspark, and like coming every Friday, I was in a train, Flixbus, of course, to Berlin. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to leave Germany. So I applied to Delivery Hero. Funny story.
How did that go?
Yeah.
You work in operations or like people
in
management?
people management, yeah. People specialist, and then kind of create my career.
What do people specialists do? How do you specialize in people? Are you like an expert in people now?
I will summarize it as we are expert on solving everyone's problems, but not ours.
Yeah, like therapists?
Like a culture company therapist, but you are completely fucked up yourself. So it's really tough department sometimes to work on, because we are literally making sure that everyone feels good, but you don't take care of your own house, of your own team, and even of yourself. Yeah, I mean, thanks to people department, I worked actually 10 years in different companies in these departments. I started using humor. Like I got into comedy because it's so much therapeutical that the work that you're doing, so much shadow, so much problems, conflict resolutions, and so on, that I needed lightness. I needed to look the life with another perspective. So then it's when I started stand-up.
Yeah, you know, like stand-up is basically, I don't know, like a therapy in a way. Like for me, it was very, like whenever I also recall stories from work or like from home or whatever to my friends, especially after some time passed, I just pack it as jokes. And it's just like, you know, a little set for like, loved ones. Yeah. And I've done stand-up twice. Once it was when I was looking for a job a while back. It was like 2 years ago in 2022-ish. So the market was horrible. It was super difficult. I was also very fresh out of grad. I only had one job after my graduation. So after that I was looking. And I was at Zipsebeer bar in Berlin. And they had Flint open mic. And a friend of mine was like, and I always wanted to do stand-up. But for me it's like, oh yeah, but you know, it's a work. You need to first learn how to make a set or whatever, read a book. That's how I started also podcast, not just starting. I went and did like a course how to start. And then I started. Which is funny thing in itself, but okay. And so she's like, oh yeah, I will just sign you up. And you could sign up on a spot for like 2 spots or something. Yeah. And the hosts also didn't know me. So they put me in the end. And they later told me like they didn't feel comfortable putting like a random stand-up set.
Because that's what open mics are for.
Because you never know. It's just like, oh yeah, so it's just like, you know, stand-up is like when men just joke about manliness. And I'm like, no. And so it came up and I had a bunch of experiences from job seeking and like stories of it. And yeah, you really get to experience a lot. And so I just packed 3 of them, did the set. Everybody loved it. It was super fun.
Beautiful.
I just didn't prepare. It was literally trauma dumping on people who are also in the same kind of situation, but also like in a funny way. And the second time I did a course on stand-up. So I actually went and like, how do I do stand-up?
Of course.
The course was really good. The person was really good. Her name is Anshita, and she directs several shows around Berlin. Like it was, and I didn't read that she finished with an open mic. I haven't read that. I was like, oh. So I arrived and I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna prepare a set, and then we're gonna present it tonight.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It went well. It was fun, but like I remember I came to the stage and like it's blurred vision. I don't see anyone, and I also forgot something. And then when people see the recording, they actually like it. And for me, I try to think back to that, and I get this feeling like, oh my god, I don't want to do this again. It was like so close to being bad, and like I don't get like comfortable feeling thinking back to that.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's fine. It's maybe you need to do it more. But yeah, what was your open mic? First
when
open
you
mic?
were sharing, like many things came to my mind, so I will try to organize them because you're a project manager. I want to be clear. First, you mentioned something beautiful that is, after a while, I transform this in jokes. And comedy equals the tragedy plus time plus your unique perspective. So the after a while is key. You cannot make comedy from an open wound. That is indulging tragedy. That is avoiding tragedy. That is a bad humor, shadow humor, red flag. Go away from that. Many people don't respect time, and that is a huge mistake because it goes unauthentic, awkward, weird, too soon, too fast. So the time thing, key. And your own perspective, if actually the resilience that you showed towards that. You shared something that was painful for you, you waited for it, and you make it relatable for everyone. And that is the perspective that you're sharing, not from a complaint part, but more from like, I'm sharing my truth, who relates to this? That is like the first thing that came to my mind, the time part. And the other one, when you were saying we had to prepare and then kind of present, humor is based on authenticity. And sometimes it's just not the fucking right time for it. So I can imagine the awkwardness of being forced to be funny. Is something worse than being forced to be funny? Like, I prefer million of times to be forced to be serious. Million. So I get you so badly when you share that experience at something that is not nice for you.
For me, it was also, like, we were also told at the workshop, like, you can say, you can have a very funny set, and it's funny in itself, and you are not funny as a person, you just present it. Or you can have, like, a very mediocre set, but you present it very funny, and people just, dig your personality kind of thing. And our order was changed. I was supposed to be one of the first ones, and then I ended up being, like, second to last. And then our sets were also, like, with comedians who already, like, have proper sets and have been doing comedy for a while. And I was, imagine you there since, like, 2 p.m. or, like, 12 even. Quite early, and the set is like at 8 p.m. And I was so tired. It was so hot, and I came up to the stage. I was like, "Yeah, actually, I don't want to be here." Like, I was very much in that personality, and people like finding that very funny. And that I like, that you can like kind of pretend, but you're not pretending. Like saying the truth, and people are like, "Haha, that's funny." You're like, "I'm not joking. I do not want to be here."
I mean, there are many kind of ingredients of humor and creating laughter, and one of them is the truth. Like, where the truth is, humor is just a step behind or to the side. And then love comes, but we are not getting there yet. So saying the truth from a really vulnerable perspective is surprising, because humor also has that ingredient, surprise and incongruity. And for our society, saying the truth is completely out of the blue. It's a surprise. Like typical joke or entrance or icebreaker. You go into a meeting and you're like, "I'm sorry I'm late. I didn't want to be here." It's the truth, but you are like, is this person really saying the truth? I mean, that is using also sarcasm. There's other ways of bringing the truth that are a little bit more heartwarming, but it depends your audience and your rapport with them. But yeah, I can imagine that the tension of relief that you're able to say the truth and what that reacts in the audience.
But how did you kind of come to that? Because for me, I always, like, the way I react, it's also in English a lot. I do react with punchlines in uncomfortable situations as well. Or like, that's why, not that I love leading team meetings, but I'm good at that because I can break the tension. I can like switch the, I don't know, topics and things like that. And that's why I was like, okay, maybe I should try stand-up comedy. How did you come to that? Because like when I start joking a lot, it means I'm actually tired and uncomfortable and don't want to be there kind of situation. It's my like defense mechanism.
It's wow. You mentioned really two things really interesting, and one of them is that you kind of recognize consciously or unconsciously your type of humor, and it's stand-up and a little bit sniper. There are different types of humor. It's not the same, and there's even a test I can share it with you and with everyone who's look at the podcast, and then you can really check which type of humor you are. That goes with you are a project manager and you will love this because it's with a graphic. What?
I do love a good organization.
So it's come from the 2 arrows of being really aggressive, of subtle, and being affiliative or like aggressive. So usually people who are snipers are really subtle but aggressive. So you will be ready to just shoot the truth. Yeah. Then there is also humor that is kind of sweetheart, that is being really subtle, but affiliative. So it's the typical person that will say like, what a beautiful day, it's like a sun, like your face, and ha ha ha, like this type of. There is also the stand-up that is like more aggressive and also affiliative, like I want to get people together, but in an aggressive way. And there are 4 types. You can check yours, and as soon as you get that knowledge, then you can start really practicing what suits you, and also recognizing your type of humor and putting it with the right meaning. In this case, you wanted to experience in it, so that was the meaning, and you did it. Applause. Like really, it takes so much courage to even try that. Because there is a huge thing that I always think when I do stand-up is I really find courageous every type of artist. From clay to painting to writing, singing, etc. Even meditating, if you want to call it an art. For me it is.
I've done a workshop on clay, like this ring thingy, ceramic ring. I thought I would be slaying it and I would be loving it. It took me 10 minutes to understand I hate it and it's not for me.
Beautiful,
so
you're trying
much
it
respect
out.
for those people who do it.
Yeah. But you try it. And what happens with humor is that when you go to grab that mic, there is an expectation of you to be funny. I don't know if there is a bigger expectation in someone's shoulder. It's really crazy because fun comes from being authentic, being improviser, being honest, and also being prepared. And to put all that in a mix, takes practice, take wisdom, take vulnerability, take courage. Damn. So yeah, big applause for everyone who is trying that, and especially for the ones who are failing on that. Because if you continue doing it after that huge uncomfortable situation of not belonging to the people's expectations, really, your heart is made of iron.
I also realized a lot, like the place was very comfortable. It was kind of not curated, but curated. Like there were new comedians and like friends supporting these new comedians and like comedians more experienced who were supportive as well. The first place I present was a very like queer friendly space and like people generally, like, if it's a queer space, it's naturally a supportive space of anyone who's like putting themselves on a spot. And I was talking actually with Anshita. I was like, yeah, I'm not sure if I just generally storm into any open mic in Berlin, I won't leave crying.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned there's something important too, that is every your success kind of depends on the people and not on your performance itself. It's a relationship. It's literally a relationship. So how the counterpart is prepared is key. And if they are being built up by the person who kind of hosts, they have to be created a rapport. If they're being built up of having an expectation of dark humor or extremely fun or extremely like the relationship that person builds with the how is the people who are listening to you? Thank you very much. I didn't know in German, in Spanish, in Giphy. Okay, audience, okay. Thank you very much. The people there. People are like, what are she talking about? Audience, thank you very much. I forgot their name. Imagine how important they are for me. So the audience is key, the relationship with them. And yeah, and if they are being prepared to allow fun and not expect fun, you are winning the game 1-0. Because allowing fun is in our mindset and in every human the first thing. Before telling a joke, being really funny, allowing, being delighted by things. And that is something, a mindset that we can work on. And for sure, the person who is hosting has to warm the people up for that.
Yeah, I working with audience where they'd stand up or like even presenting, like when we met with you and you were presenting and it was already announced that it's like, I also like how you position yourself as startup comedian. I find it so funny. It's such a good punch. And like, okay, she's going to do some jokes. Obviously, it's going to be different than like usual. And then the crowd is just, yeah. I'm like, for God's sake, smile or like nod or something. Because I'm naturally supportive of whenever people are on the stage. I make like eye contact with them. I clap. I nod. So yeah, big props for you for trying punchlines there.
Yeah.
It was definitely not the Tough crowd.
Yeah. No, what you're mentioning is beautiful because there is the expectation being set, and the presenter presented me as the donkey lady who works with humor. And I prepared a pitch for startups of my serious business of coaching and team building. So I was not coming to do a stand-up comedy show at 10 a.m. on hard tech engineer startuppers on a Wednesday. I didn't prepare that. And I was sold like that. So people are like, why does she have a presentation? And it's talking about stakeholders, investors, and pitching. What the fuck is she doing?
I was surprised, yeah.
Yeah. So that I learned, damn, they expect a funny donkey lady, but I'm a serious startupper. I'm a serious entrepreneur. That is bringing humor not to make you laugh, to make you funnier. And that is the expectation that wasn't met. And I suffered, but I learned so much. I'm like, this is key. How I'm presented and the expectation that is being set in my future pitch. And if the presenter didn't get it, who is responsible? Myself.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm thinking, because I presented like 2 weeks before you, I think, or like a week before, and I was just presenting myself, just my experience. But also, like, it's about the instructions. They were like, yeah, just present yourself. And then they presented me as a project manager and funding lead, which kind of fine, went along with that. And I dedicated half of the presentation to burnout, which again made a lot of people relate with that. A lot of people come up later. But yeah, so actually now you do position yourself as a humor coach, right? Startup comedian, and but you don't teach people how to do comedy or how to be funny, or you don't come and like entertain people.
No.
How do you work with clients that they take you seriously and that they take humor as a serious kind of aspect important for their work?
That's a beautiful question. And
thank you. I just came up with this.
Yeah, no, amazing. Thank you. My therapist has to get to know you so she can also ask me these questions. So I reflect on my life and find a direction. What did you ask? No. It's really curious because I don't need to make a huge effort to be taken seriously, because the challenges that humor is addressing, or how I want to use humor to address those challenges, are already serious. That is burnout, as you mentioned it, team building, trust, bonding, approachability of leaders, and focus and paying attention. That I struggle with that one. And I don't know if you, but every time you laugh, you're paying attention. So humor is just a thing that you have. You have your own humor sense. I told you there is even a graphic, so you can get to know it. It's also a skill that you can practice. You already did it. You did it once. You didn't feel good. When you do it twice, and then you do it 3 times, and then 4. It's like going to the gym the first time. Everything fucking hurts. But then the second time, it doesn't that much. Maybe the 4th time. But you have to get there. It's a muscle. It's really a skill. And then when you have the acknowledgement of which is your humor style, you put it in practice in your life. Doesn't have to be with the CEO in that meeting. Don't get that risky. Please. Then you can really put a goal and a meaning to your humor and start using it strategically. So that is what I'm bringing. If I'm funny or not, that is a side effect that I can't avoid. I'm hilarious. But I'm not bringing that to corporate or to startups or to your life. I'm bringing you the humor as a strategic tool for whatever you're pursuing. You choose.
This is great.
Great. Thank you.
Lovely.
We finished.
No, we're not. But so you worked for a big corporation. You were in people's department. I assume you liked it enough that you stayed there for a longer time.
I like my paycheck and my visa.
Yeah, we love those. We love not having to go to Auslandsbehörde more than once in 10 years. Love that. What happened that you're like, actually, enough. I want to pursue something else. What made you blink, blink, change plans? Beautiful
change plans. I got into a beautiful, sexy, warm comfort zone. And my millennial that I really should give them Ritalin or something to calm down was like, now you're ready to pursue the what if you can be an entrepreneur? What if you can actually mix humor and coaching, that I'm also super passionate on coaching, and all these years of corporate problem solving around the world and create your own thing? And that voice was screaming loud, still screaming or singing, sometimes telling me jokes. And I thought that in order to be myself, because that is what we all want, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We just want to be ourselves.
I don't know. I just want to be comfortable. And you just left that.
Yeah. and one of the things that, at least for me, is comfortable is just being myself and belong wherever there I am. If I belong at home, being myself, great. With my friends, great. At work, damn, fucking privilege. In a country, thank you, never heard it. So I wanted that. I wanted to just be myself. And I thought and convinced myself that under a role with a manager in a corporation, I cannot be myself. Even the typical work and life balance, having that division, like you have your life and you have your work. And culturally in Germany, it's really also like staying in our cultures. Like you have work and you have life. It's separated. So I'm like, I'm gonna integrate my work and my life and do my startup. Now I don't regret it. I love it. I'm gonna forever follow that. And at the same time, I'm curious if I can just be myself at work and at life. Like, is the what or is the how that makes the who, or I can just be whoever I want, wherever I want. Damn, we got philosophic. But yeah, that is kind of what made me change.
Honestly, before joining a startup, I kind of had a fantasy of like having my own NGO. And like we did start kind of process with some former colleagues of mine, but everybody had different life priorities, so we dropped this. Working for a startup right now, I've seen all the Finanzamt letters we get. I've seen all the things we need to do. I've seen all the things we've done wrong already and fixing them. And I'm like, oh my God, founding a startup in Germany is so difficult. And I know they have a lot of programs. Now I know. And like I think the more you hear, the more you get to know. And in the last episode, we also discussed with a friend of mine how she started her like freelancing and got support from like German government. But it's so many things you need to know before. It's like very difficult. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it, and then I'm gonna learn by doing. And I find it a very difficult country to, learn by doing something.
Yeah, it's a slow country for that. Meaning you have to be really patient and make a lot of mistakes that can cost a lot of money and tears. So you really have to have the meat for that. And I think I have the fat for that, but not the muscle. I'm really fatty. My comfort zone was full of fat, but not that muscly. So I'm building that muscle for sure. There is a key thing that you mentioned that I'm learning, and I'm really grateful that you invite me to talk about this, is that you are not alone. Like really, really, that is the first, like team sport for this is key. And yeah, I invite everyone who is going into like the what if, or like I want to try this out and jump into this madness, to from the beginning look for help, for support, for connections, for network. Yeah.
Let's talk about networking actually. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of things going on for networking for women, like women in tech, or like not just for women. A lot of things going on. There are also things separately for women and like Flint representing people, which I personally find myself more comfortable going to those. But then also, do you have like a strategy when you go networking? Do you go to an event and like, okay, I'm gonna meet X amount of people. I'm gonna, I don't know, pitch myself to those many people, or like how do you choose events? Personally, it's for me very emotionally taxing, and I think out of 6 events I attended so far, like I really got a good return on investment out of 1.
Yeah. It depends that what is your profit expected. So
see, we can talk startup.
Yeah. My profit is understand the struggle of people. I'm still solving people problem and not my own. So I go to listen, and the people love to be asked what is going on to them, what is actually struggling, and that someone is paying attention to them. So for me, the profit of going to network is high on that, on getting actually material. I'm stalking all of you every time I go to a network, and that gave me like a data collection of actually where I can then give back on my service of coach and team building for startups and corporation with humor. Like, what is actually the pains on that? So now that I make a sale in the networking, no, I go for listening and creating. The sales bit goes in another channel for sure. Yeah. You cannot go and sell sand in the desert.
Yeah, absolutely.
And networking of startups is a desert.
It's also a muscle. Going and networking.
Yeah.
I at some point tried to do it very regular, at least once a week. I have to admit, my very first startup networking, I went in 15 minutes, I was out. It was like climate tech startup networking. I'm like, I cannot do this.
Yeah. I have heard that techniques for networking is also not going alone. That doesn't mean just speaking with your friend all day, but we don't trust a weirdo asking us about things. I am that weirdo many times, so I just arrive and listen. And when I feel that people feel comfy enough that I have been listening their conversations, then I ask for consent to just ask something else or based on what you said. But again, it's about listening, and that takes so much energy, and it's right asking the right question is like that is the muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. And also people just want to talk, like, not want maybe, but people do like talking about themselves. Like, I always remind myself that
here I am talking about myself, enjoying it so much.
I mean, you're joking, but again, starting podcast, it was one of those, like, I don't have much network in startup world. I don't know much people, but then you probably will be much likely to share job opportunities or like help me somewhere, or because I know her. I spent like 2 hours sitting and talking with her.
Yeah. And I don't know you, maybe you can share with me, but I have listened so many podcasts that have changed my life. No, but literally things that have been like nagging in my way of seeing the world, of seeing my company, or even seeing myself, that comes from a conversation in a podcast. So yeah,
I started listening to podcasts when I was learning German. So I was actively listening about diversity, inclusion, equity, everything in German. I think that was like the only topic I was listening to podcasts, because also very much into that. But actually, so you mentioned your coaching. Your individual coaching or like team coaching, or how did you get into coaching? I missed that completely.
Yeah, that is a good one. So I wanted to be an actress, so I studied business engineering.
Makes sense.
And then
correct.
I wanted to be a therapist, but I'm too lazy to do that in Germany, for sure. I'm not getting into studying 15 years in German, white male philosophers. Yeah, no. So I'm like, what is the shortcut, honey? Like, make your life easier. So I chose coaching. Now I am weird enough to choose a holistic coaching. So I study the body, the mind, and the spirit. We don't gonna get there in this this podcast. And then I got certified. And at the end, coaching is just letting your ego go and let the person solve their own problems. And then that for me is the best tool I can put in practice in my life. Just be there. Just reflect. Just focus on what the other person wants to find for themselves and not give them a solution.
Yeah, I guess same with therapy as well. Give them instruments, right?
Yeah, I mean, therapy goes a little bit more into introspection.
Yeah.
So we'll go into your past or into your relationships. Coaching takes you where you want to go. I have been in coaching sessions and people are like, well, my dad and my mom. And I'm like, great, get a therapist. Where do you want to? I'm not one. I would love that you pay me for one, but I'm not. That is irresponsible. I'm not a therapist. I don't have the tools. So I'm a coach. Where do you want to go? What is blocking you? How can you get over that? And these are the conversations and the provocative questions that will get you there. But that's all. So yeah, I have a lot of comfy millennials that are afraid of getting therapy. So they got a coach. but they want to go into their shadows and their childhood trauma. And I'm like, honey, get over it. Get a therapist. Yeah.
I haven't even thought about it that way, because I do have a therapist, but then also when I left my previous job, I got coaching through Agentur für Arbeit.
Coaching to what?
I got into coaching through Agentur für Arbeit. So like Bildungsgutschein.
Yeah.
And I got coaching through Fired Up Spaces, and they are so nice because they have like intro call with you. And I was so unprepared for that intro call, because you already kind of should know your coach, who you want to work with. And I was like, I did not read email like attentive enough to know that.
Yeah.
So the woman who was like in operations right away, like she proposed me one coach, and she works with embodiment as well. And I was like, I do know like I'm a very anxious person, and it all comes with like body, and like somatics is very important, but like it was never that important for me that I would myself pay for that. But I was fine to let Agentur für Arbeit let do that.
We are fine with that.
Oh my god, that was so great. Like yeah, banging playlist here.
Our body is listening.
Absolutely. So yeah, and she's an embodiment coach, and it was very much like, how does your body react to stress? How do you react when you're scared? Or like by changing the form of your body, you already feel more confident. And definitely knock out skepsis I've had about holistic and somatic.
Beautiful.
So in like a corporate work setting, I actually think it should be talked about more.
Yeah. Wow. So much to react into that. I don't want to start preaching of listen how your body talks and so on, but yes, do it. And I'm not preaching, I'm just sharing my reality.
I mean, probably try at this point. You probably won't hear so much we suppressed ourselves.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, I really don't want to go into like listen to intuition thing and so much, because damn, my mind is so happy being complex and finding for complex solutions that my intuition is like, hey, hello. Like I think it's speaking in Russian to me because I don't listen to it. Like literally, I don't hear that. But you can train everything. I have been doing weird stuff to train things that are weird, because why not? And for example, guessing what time is it.
Let's try. Wait.
Okay.
So we meet with you at 4, and then we chat a bit, and then I feel like it's been 30 minutes, like 5.
I think it's 5.
I think it's 5.
I think time flies for you, but not enough as time flies for me. So I will dare to say that it's 5:13.
It's 5:13 exactly. Oh my god. Oh my god. I swear it was supposed to be 5. No way.
Sorry. I have been listening to that motherfucker. I recommend that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go.
Sorry, you're welcome.
With this conversation.
Sorry, you're welcome. Yeah, make a wish, now or never.
Wow.
It's like the
I mean,
flow.
like if you'd say like, I think it's 5:15 and it was like 5:13, like great, you're working great, but like being exactly 5:13.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to process that a bit.
This was a punchline of luck.
Wow.
But yeah, start doing stuff like that.
What a great self-promotion that was.
Yeah, okay. That is confirmed. Deutsche Stempel on my service of intuition. But yeah.
So out of your experience working with individuals, from what I understood, but also teams, what was your, I don't know, favorite experience so far?
Wow, that is a good one. I did a workshop lately about humor shadow work, where people can bring their everything that they hate about humor. So it's like a liberation of like, I don't like comedy. Okay. I don't like people being bullying. I don't like people being self-deprecating about their gender. I don't like, and it was so relieving for them to complain about humor, because it's something that we are biased. It's like, oh, we should just love it. And so that we had that space for that. And then we talk about the humor that we like, that we do. And also people got into having an introspection of that, of like, I actually like when Dogs poop at the street. I find that funny. Ha ha ha. What is funny behind that? What makes you feel relief, freedom? So many weird and random daily situations came up, and to see the face of the people of, fuck, humor is everywhere. It's not on a comedy show or in a comedy in Netflix, or it's in you. It's in your daily life. You just have to allow it. And so it was good. It was good to just be outrageous with the humor that you don't like and being allowed for that. Also, we checked some red flags, like, honey, don't do it. Just don't. Don't punch down. Don't use self-deprecation when you're insecure. Don't, like the one that we talked before, don't just indulge tragedy with humor. Don't be sarcastic when you're unsure. Be sarcastic when you build rapport enough. So many. Yeah, there is a list. Like we named the 11 red flags. We can get there. I have a workshop zone and people can join. And after that shadow work that we do as I'm a coaching therapist, a humor therapist for sure. Then we go into like, okay, vitamin. How can we actually start getting into recognize the things that are in our daily life? And I just love it. I just love simplicity. Simplicity of like people acknowledging how hilarious they already are. How insecure in stuff that is fine, and how to actually let them be. And it's 30 minutes. It's not 2 hours of changing life thing. And it's also with some homework that you can do afterwards or not. And it just makes us laugh more. Fuck yeah, all we need is laugh.
I remember I was going through like a very tough place in 2018. I was like graduating and all of that. And I was just stressed all the time, and I watched The Good Place.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's such a light and humorous show. Like I started laughing from like the first episode where like, you died, but everything is fine. And she's like sitting there like, okay. I don't know if you watched it.
I have been recommended to watch it the last 3 weeks, so I think you are the last drop.
Yeah, I think it's
you are the last drop of this class.
Discuss this one more hour.
A lot of friends have told me not only that I have to watch it, but also that there are really handsome actresses and actors.
You do like a little bit like a main character.
Yeah. Okay, I'm open for it. And yeah, I'm really curious. The one I watched that also changed my life in my startup comedian journey is Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
And it's been on my list for a while.
Wow,
maybe you're
honey,
gonna be my last drop.
Go tits up, go for it. Like, what a good and really beautiful setup and beautiful story. Wow, like I will just watch it again and again. Very good one, recommended.
We'll do. How about the moments or the clients that you didn't enjoy that much?
They are my favorites. I'm not a masochist. That is also a good one. I don't like people when they join to a workshop and they're all day in the phone, like all the time on the phone. I have been that person so many times, and maybe that's why it triggers me so much, because it's like, why are you trying to prove yourself or others? I have been in a workshop that I did. This was more a webinar. It was like for 70 people. And if you're using your phone, turn your camera off. And yeah, the workshop was about strategic humor. So I try to do a lot of interactive activities because I love talking and I find myself hilarious, but it is not about me. So if you're already 1 hour avoiding a meeting, like either go and watch a series, but if you're joining a workshop, please try to participate. I say that because I have failed on that many times. I have to say a tip for this. We love, and I mean me, and I'm projecting that to all humanity. We love checking our phone. Like there is data about that we check it 300-400 times a day. We cannot be without it in another room. We start getting anxious. It's fine. It's part of our generation. Got it. I'm not gonna find it. So in my workshops now, every 5 minutes, I have a dopamine minute. And I allow people to watch their phones. And
You did mention that in your presentation. I found it very like, yeah, she's right. We're like that now.
So like, why to fight this? Like, I am more into being progressive with what is happening and not an activist and against it. So, okay, are we all addicted? Great. Here's your addiction. Like, it's like going to I was just in Switzerland and I was in a bathroom that on top of being extremely clean that I wanted to lick it. They also have like these needles for drug addicts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like clean needles.
Yeah. And I'm like, what a developed country.
Oh.
This is evolution. Just accepting what is there.
Yeah.
And that is also humor. That's why I always say like communication, survival, professionalism, achievement, great, but humor is evolution. It's just looking what is the truth and changing the perspective to allow us to be ourselves, even if you are a crack addict.
What a note for us to actually start wrapping up. Have you... I mean, 2 questions. Maybe more than 2 questions.
That is the wrapping up that I like.
Yeah, that's not really wrapping up. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share that I didn't ask you about?
Sorry, honey?
Anything else that you would like to share that I didn't ask you? That I haven't asked you about yet?
My favorite color is purple.
Mine too. It's funny, you know how there was like a joke, like people who like yellow, they're just like, oh yeah, yellow is the color of sun, blue is the color of like, what? Sky. And people who like purple, I mean, look at my phone. Look at my watch. I also have my headphones, they're also purple. I usually also wear purple stuff, but yeah.
Crown chakra for all the healers, shanty around.
And like people who love purple, they just like make everything in purple. Yeah.
We're addicts to purple.
Okay, great. My next question is like, so you've done not just one, but like a couple of bold career changes and like career moves. What would you advise to someone who is thinking that they got too comfortable, or someone who's like not comfortable at all where they are and they consider career change, but they are also very hesitant?
What a nice question. It's not where you're working, or even, maybe if you have a bully boss, you're fucked, so then leave if you can't set boundaries or you have to feed a family. But I recommend those people to maybe stay in the job that they hate until they love themselves enough.
And the last one, the one we talked about at the beginning, 2 truths and a lie.
Damn.
And I think it's been 1 hour.
Yeah.
And now I think I could guess something about you.
Okay, let's do it. First one. A working council sued me in Chile and brought me to court because I canceled a party.
Again, you worked in...
A working council, like Betriebsrat, sue me when I was 24 and took me to court, like public court in Chile.
Okay.
Because I canceled a party.
Okay. I can see that happening here. I don't know about Chile, but okay.
Then another one is once I drove a copper mine truck and I almost killed someone.
Okay.
And the third one is I travel 5 countries in one day.
It's always the number one. Because when I play this game, I always lie about how many languages I speak. So 2 stories, they're too unbelievable to be true. That's why they're true. The 2 first ones. And you work in a copper mine. So I can imagine you're probably not the greatest truck driver, but still you can drive. So I will go, you visited either not 5 countries, it was something like 7 or 6, or 4 in one day. Or it was like 5 countries in 2 days. So I'm going with the third one.
Good one, but not that good one.
Okay.
I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose.
You already won the time thing.
Okay. 50-50. You got it. 50-50.
Okay, almost hit me. You did hit a person. That's a lie? You not almost hit you.
That
hit
is a
the
lie.
person.
That is a lie. No, I didn't kill anyone. But I also wasn't allowed to drive the trucks. So that was the lie. I never drove it. If they would have allowed me, believe me, this wouldn't be a lie, and maybe I would have killed that person. Okay. So they have boundaries with with yeah.
Yeah, I like how I just assume like anybody can
Yeah,
drive trucks.
of course.
Whatever.
Coppermine
Almost kill a
truck,
person,
yeah.
Sure.
Typical.
Okay.
It's a wild country over there. They're close to penguins. They can do that. But yeah, that was the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
It's been a blast.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Change of Plans. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Katherina and got some inspirations on how to bring a little more humor into your own work life. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit like, follow, and subscribe, whatever your platform calls it. And don't forget to share with anyone who might need a bit of laughter in their workday. You can also find us on social media for updates and more behind-the-scenes content. And be sure to join us for the next episode. It will be the one hardtech enthusiasts won't want to miss, as I'll be joined by Tyler Sheldrake, the managing director of Motion Lab. She'll be sharing some fascinating insights about the world of hardtech in Berlin and Germany and Europe, and what's happening behind the scenes at Motion Lab. Until then, keep embracing the unexpected and see you next time on Change of Plans.